Welcome back, geometry students. These are video notes for section 7.1. In this video we're going to be discussing rotations. So we've already talked about two other types of transformations. This is our general term, transformations. We've talked about translations. So we have translations. So if you recall, that's just sliding it to a new position. And we've talked about reflections. So this is like finding a mirror image, and today in this video we're talking about rotation. So these are three different types of transformations. Okay, these are all transformations. So let's flash back here. What is a rotation? So a rotation is a turn about a point. So usually, or always in our class, usually the point is the origin, and we will rotate 180 degrees. So this will simplify our life quite a bit. Rotations can get quite complicated if you use a point that's not the origin, and if we rotate an angle that is not 180 degrees, but that's what we'll be doing for this class. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at some examples. So we want to rotate this triangle 180 degrees about the origin, so that's what all our rotating problems will be, 180 degrees about the origin. So let's take a look at the coordinates for each of these. So S is -4, 3, and X is -3, 1, and K, we haven't gone left or right, and then we're just going to go up, so that's 0, and we're going to go up 5. So let's connect point X to the origin. And when we rotate this 180 degrees, what you want to picture is that X is attached to the origin by this red dashed line, and then we're going to rotate it 180 degrees around over to here. Okay, so we're going to end up right over here, and this is going to be X prime. So let's go ahead and find the coordinates of X prime. So we want 1, 2, 3, and then we went down 1, so that's 3, -1. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So here's X at -3, 1, and here's X prime at 3, -1. So the -3 changed to +3, and the 1 changed to -1. So basically, all we did was we did the opposite of each of the coordinates. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for S. So this is -4, +3, so I'm going to change it to +4, -3. 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, 2, 3. So there's S prime. And then for K prime, I had 0, 5, so I'm going to have 0, that's going to stay 0, and -5. So 0, -5 ends up down here. So that's K prime. We'll go ahead and connect our 3 points to form the triangle. And we have the image of our original triangle rotated 180 degrees around the origin. Alright, so why don't you go ahead and pause the video and give this second problem a try here with this parallelogram, and then when you restart the video you will have the solution and you can check yours to see if it's right. So pause the video now and give that problem a try. Okay, so here's the solution to this problem. We've rotated the original parallelogram 180 degrees about the origin, and here's my original points, and then I listed off my new points, my image points. Notice that the only difference is that we take the opposite of all of them. So this is 1, -1, so now it switches to -1, +1. And one of the things that you can see here is if I pick any point, so let's say I pick point C. let's pick point C. If I connect point C to the origin, and then I connect point C prime to the origin, we can see that it kind of makes a straight line. So what you want to try and picture is, I'm going to take this whole image and I'm going to connect it by this line here, and then I'm going to rotate it up to over here. So I've rotated it 180 degrees. So let's take a look at the ordered pair rules here for this next problem. As always, if you have questions, make sure that you write those down or ask your teacher. It's important that you get your questions answered so that you make sure you're learning material. All right, so let's take a look at S and K and X. Point S is -4, +3, and point K is 0, 5, and point X is -3, +1. So if we're going to rotate this 180 degrees about the origin, we saw that what we want to do is take the opposite of each coordinate. So -4 changes to +4, 3 changes to -3, and for K prime we're going to have 0, -5, and for X prime we're going to have 3, -1. So let's go ahead and draw that in. So we've got 4, -3 is down here. That's S prime. And 0, -5, that's K prime. And 3, -1, X prime. Go ahead and connect the points. And there you have our rotated triangle. We've rotated it about the origin 180 degrees. Okay, so we can see that if we take our original points x, y, and we change both of them to the opposite, this is a 180 degree rotation about the origin. Okay, and I think I mentioned this before, but part of the difficulty in this section, this part of the chapter, is understanding what the problem is asking you for, and then sometimes how to write down your mathematical reasoning as well. So make sure that you understand the different types of transformations, because we've got a bunch now, and make sure that you can express those mathematically. Alright, so let's move on. So we've got our recap here. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can fill out what a rotation is without looking. And after you do that, you can restart the video. Alright, so moving on to the next examples, I can determine or identify the transformation that maps one figure onto another. So one of the things that's going to get a little tricky now is we have all these different rules and you have to keep them straight. So here's the rule, and we're going from all the points x, y to the points -x, -y. And you've probably noticed that when I say this, I say the opposite of x and the opposite of y instead of -x and -y, and that's important. So let's go ahead and write the coordinates for D and I and U. So point D is -3, -2. And I is -4, -3. And U is -2, -4. And then we can go ahead and we can write using the rule. So we're going to take the opposite of each of these. So D prime is going to be +3, +2, and I prime is going to be +4, +3. We're taking the opposite of each of the others. And then U prime is going to be +2, +4. For some reason this negative didn't show up. -4. Okay. Alright, so then we can go ahead and we can graph these. So we have 3, 2. That's D prime. We have I prime, which is 4, 3. There's D prime, I prime, and then 2, 4. U prime, and we will go ahead and connect those. And this is the rotation 180 degrees about the origin. So the transformation is 180 degree rotation about the origin. Okay, it's important to note in your answer that it's 180 degree rotation and also that it's about the origin. You need both of those in order to complete the answer. Alright, so what I want you to do again, go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and work out this next part. And when you're done, you can restart the video and take a look at the solution. So pause the video and work that out. Alright, so here's the solution for the second part here. If you need to go ahead and pause the video and take a look at what I have here and make corrections on yours, feel free to do that. Otherwise, let's move on to the recap it. So this is the recap of the entire section of 7.1. So we have all kinds of different transformations, and this is going to recap many of them for us. Okay, so if you think you want to try and fill this out on your own, go ahead and pause the video and then you could restart it. So the ordered pair rule, where we take our xy's and transform them to x and negative y, if you recall, this is a reflection over the x-axis. Okay, and then if we do the ordered pair rule, xy changes to opposite of x, y. This is also a reflection, but in this case it's a reflection over the y-axis. Okay, and these are really much easier to see when you're looking at some example points on the coordinate grid, and that's usually how I do it as well. Now we've got the ordered pair rule, xy changes to negative x, negative y. So this is what we just did. This is a 180 degree rotation about the origin. And then lastly, what we talked about in the last video, we've got the ordered pair x comma y, and then we're flip-flopping it, changes to y comma x. We figured out this is also a reflection, but this is a reflection over the line y equals x. So this is an important summary for you. You know, this is what I'm going to expect you to be able to tell me and figure out when we take the assessment. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you get those answered, and we will see you in the next video.